you're very confident, and I'm just listening to you, the confidence with which you speak and all that. I want us to move away from just what's happening here, because when we came here in the morning, this place was extremely peaceful. Things were going on all right. We're all a little taken aback when we noticed that we're going a little chaotic and all of that. Let's talk about the NDC party in general, national and all of that. Going into 2024, the prospects of the NDC as the main opposition party and all of that. There are many people who think that the NDC, like we have seen, are not ready for power. Is that really the case? Are these small pockets of incidences anything to go by? Should people hold on to things like this and worry?
Okay, you see, we are social democrats, and so therefore we believe that an issue on my uncle or my brother should be an issue for all. Everybody in Ghana today knows that the NDC is ready for power. NDC must wrestle power. NDC must be the only option for this country. All of us are aware of this point. And so therefore there are certain people, certain elements who by virtue of where they live, the kind of associations with our party, they think they also deserve a position where when the party forms government, certain things might come their way. But me, I'm so okay, I'm so happy with decisions of party faithfuls going forward. Look, the NDC we are promising Ghanaians is not the NDC they thought about some years ago. We have an NDC that is going to put better policies down that will change the fortunes of this country. Why we not in this country? When Anado raised a gallon of petrol, that are we supposed to buy this at 14 cities? Today, how much are we buying a gallon of petrol? Were we not changing our dollar for less than 5 cities? What did they tell us? They said it's the gross incompetence of our government that is making us sell our dollar at that price. Is that what they told us? Today, what is the rate of the dollar? My brother, look at the infrastructural development John Dramani Mahama did for this country. Let me not go far. Choko, everywhere we live. We've lived in Choko for over 100 years. We do not have a single clinic. A government that John Dramani Mahama, true Honorable Dr. Alfredo Kofandabo, the best mayor of Accra, the former mayor of all Africans, right now is a rapporteur to the African Parliament. We have such a man who was giving us an hospital. From the time he left till now, they have not even had a single block to it. This is just for Choko. Now let's come to Greater Accra. John Dramani Mahama in Greater Accra gave us the Maritime Hospital. He gave us the Ridge Hospital. He gave us the Bank of Ghana Hospital. He gave us the Circle Dubai. He changed the sea at Teshi, desalted it, and people cannot drink our sea. John Dramani Mahama, let's go back to our schools. John Dramani Mahama promised our nurses that look, I as a government, I would want to bond you. I would want to give you an allowance where you can use that money to pay your fees. And when you finish school, I'm not going to sack you away. I am going to bond you till that government, finds you a job before I start taking that loan small from you. What did we see? Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, and their patriotic lies. They came on John Dramani and said, we are going to give you student allowance. Our students jubilated, they joined them, they formed. What have we seen in this country? They promised us that the kind of asphalt roads we are doing, they do not need it. And now they were coming to do concrete roads. My brother, can you tell me what concrete road is done? Can you cite one? Today under them, Guta has to close shops for days. People of Abosokai has to put their money together to this government, thinking they were the best option for our country. But today they've proven themselves that they are never close to us. But you know, we're not taking things so easily, because the MPP we know them. Ronnie told us, he said, look, these MPP people you think you keep saying, they never change. They only change their names. They're from UP, they're from other traditions, and they are the same people. The president himself has promised the people of Ghana that I'm going to hand over power to an MPP government. Lord Kome, the director of operations, has also emphatically said that look, we will hand over power to ourselves. So NDC is nowhere in complacency. We know there's a fight to be fought, and as the organizer of this constituency, I am promising you through this media that I, Alfred Ni Adote Alote, popularly known by the people as Alut, will at all time defend and protect the integrity of my people and that of our party and that of the whole country.
chat with the man who is considered a jack of all trades when it comes to music. Some call him an industry plug, others a musician, an entrepreneur, a connector, a show promoter. The list goes on and on. I am here with the man who got all the links when it comes to music in Ghana and beyond. This is Talkatainment on GhanaWeb TV. When we come back, I introduce my guest. Welcome back. This is Talkatainment on GhanaWeb TV. Before I introduce my guest, I would love to congratulate him for all the amazing things he's done in the industry, for connecting our artists to foreign people and, you know, being a true son of the land. I have here with me Small God.
Hi.
I'm good. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So we're just going to delve more into career, the things that you've achieved. You are really a big man when it comes to music industry. I don't even know how to qualify you because I cannot say you're a musician. I cannot say you're a promoter. It goes on and on. Some say you are an entrepreneur, but we're going to find out more in the course of our interview. Now, your name, Nana Apiese, it sounds like a royal. I'm very particular about that because I know in Ghana, names do have meaning. So are you a Ghanaian royal?
No.
No. Then Charlie, it's like every name you pick sets you aside is unique. Small God. I've had people say, oh, does he consider himself as a god? But I've heard stories where you've explained the meaning of small God. Akroenyame.
Yeah.
So just to issue disclaimer to all those who think, oh, he thinks he's a god. No. He's good at what he does. I must tell you that. But as he says, Chief or Ekasi Akroenyame, just say all the brains. He's got a bigger brain. He knows everything. That's what. That's it. But I heard you say you got it from your grandma.
Yeah, grandma gave it.
Yeah. And then you decided to. Great. Now I know in Ghana when we talk about celebrities or the big men, people wonder, oh, can they do things on their own? Personally, I just want to find out, can Small God cook? Does he make his own meals? Or he got all the boys?
I destroy the kitchen. I'm a good cook.
You're a good cook.
I mean, I lived with my grandma and my mom, so you know what that means.
So what can you prepare? Like, I know you can say everything, but what's your specialty?
Whatever I want to eat, I'm really on it.
On it.
Like.
But then some will say with celebrities, you got people on your hand, someone who could give you, oh, you got an interview here, someone who does the laundry, someone who got everything. So of course, that's help.
I'm a guy that's hands-on. I do my own laundry, I do my own cooking, I do everything. Even though I got a girl, but I still do things myself.
Oh, even though you got a girl, I'm going to get back to that later. But then what Ghanaian language do you speak fluently? Like the languages you're good at? Chi.
Ga.
Ga.
I'm still learning. I was there a bit and I'm learning a bit small. But
the Chi is...
Chi and Ga, I picked it quite.
But I know your background, reading about you. You know, you spend most of your life outside Ghana and inside here. You've been around for a long time. But do you feel that you are sometimes being tagged as, oh, he's a foreigner in your own motherland? Do you get that feeling?
It's normal. Like wherever you go, you're always tagged as somebody else. Like for instance, I was born in London.
Okay.
When I came to Ghana, they call you the London boy. When you leave here, going to Amsterdam, they call you the Ghanaian or the London boy. When you leave Amsterdam, come to Ghana, they call you the Amsterdam boy. So it's like you don't belong. It's very hard. It's very hard because you don't belong anywhere. You just, unless you go back to London, then even there, they say, oh, the Ghanaian boy. So you just...
I can imagine.
I don't know what you want to call them, but you don't belong anywhere. You just...
But then the word belong in the industry, because I know you do music.
Yeah.
In the industry here in Ghana, do you feel like the belongingness, like you've been accepted?
Well, accepted. I just started music, to be honest, but I've always been behind the scenes, as I said. So I did my work. I've done the groundwork. I've done the footwork. I've done everything. So it wasn't like I wanted to belong. It's just something I was doing. So when I say they needed me, per se, so it wasn't like, oh, you don't belong, so we're not going to help your people or whatever. I'm helping people. So it doesn't matter whether I belong or not.
It doesn't even matter. You're Ghanaian, and that's what's most important.
I was just getting the job done, so it doesn't matter. But now, I guess I've done enough noise enough.
You have.
Completed my name, so
cemented your name. That's it. That's
so
it.
Yeah,
but then, are there plans to fully relocate to Ghana? Or if you have,
I'm here now.
You have now.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, let's talk music. Let's talk music. I know you've been here, as in saying you've been in Ghana, but then for someone who stayed outside in Ghana, some say, oh, our system not working, economy hard and all that. How would you describe the system, the economy, which currently everybody's complaining about?
I won't say anything different from what's happening. It's happening, we all see it. It's not only in Ghana, everywhere it's happening. But, I mean, it might be harder in Ghana than other parts of the world because other parts of the world, they're using the credit system to survive. In Ghana, I don't think we have the credit system, so it's just hand to mouth or wherever. So
have to hustle.
Have to hustle to make it happen. So it's harder here, would I say. Apart from that, I guess we know how to use whatever we have to make it work.
Okay. Now let's talk music.
Yeah.
Usually when we say Small God, we know that he's really bridged the gap when it comes to local artists and foreign.
Yeah.
You got some of the craziest links I can ever think of. Now take me through the process. If a Ghanaian artist want to collaborate with a foreign artist, what are the
with me, it's not per se you want to work with a foreign artist. I don't do like that. I make beats. If you have the talent, I put you on. If I like it, cool. Now I search who I feel like fits sonically with you or the collaboration fits with. Then when I do get it, I come back to you and let you listen to it. Also, you have a say. It's not like you're forced to be on there.
Yeah.
You have a say. You listen to it. If you feel like what I've done is good enough for you, then we move forward.
Okay.
Do you understand? It's not like you come to me and say, I have this song and I want you to help me with Drake and it's my job to go and find Drake. No, it's not.
Because
I just make things happen.
I get it.
Like we're sitting here now and you say, okay, you work for GhanaWeb. You want, you're thinking of going to England, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh, guess what? I went to school with a girl that controls BBC over there. Do you want me to link you?
Link it.
Now link you. Whatever you guys do,
that's it.
Because I know you guys are in the same industry. Get it? That's what I do.
Yeah. Now, my question is because I've heard people say, oh, why is it that Nigerians, they can quickly collaborate with a foreign art, but in Ghana it looks like it's just once you can single it out. That's why I want to find out, is there a process where you can lead? Like
it's not per se a process, it's just you have to build your connection with people, you have to build your relationship with people. Like once you do that, then it's easier to have that conversation when it's time to.
So it's all about connection and the links.
Building your relationship with people. My one is just about building and connecting with the right people, and I'm in the right circle. Then when it's time that I need Mr. A or Mr. B or Miss B, I could say, oh yeah, I met Miss B here, and I see, yo, what's happening? I got this, what do you think? And maybe if she cannot do it, she could say, oh, I got Mr. A, I could connect you with Mr. A.
Okay.
I go through that. Then before you know, the job is done.
Some will say it will not be that simple as you are saying.
I always try to make sure that I'm 2 calls away from what I need. Maximum 2 calls. So if I could do that all the time, then the job goes quicker.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Great. So currently, what would you say is the most sought after Ghanaian artists when it comes to the foreign market? Like which Ghanaian artists? It might not be just one, but can you single out some people who are like really breaking the ceiling where people want to work with?
At the moment, there's a lot of Ghanaian artists that's actually kicking in the doors.
Okay.
Sak is doing his thing. Promise is doing his thing. Black Sheriff is doing his thing. Jackie is going. There's Kiddy. All these kids. The names are a lot. But now they're all going for Kevin Boy is pushing. They're all Camidos come out now. They're all pressing. They're all putting Ghana. They're waving Ghana map. So the flag, should I say? Great. So we're waving. We're pushing. So at least they're all taking a step to go through that door. So I would say we're not trying. We are trying. We are trying.
We are trying. Great. One thing I observed is the Blue Monkey and Small God. Yeah. I cannot even say I haven't taken notice of the Blue Monkey. What is the inspiration behind it?
SG is my travel partner, my companion, my friend. I mean, you know, sometimes I could call my friend and I'll be like, oh, I want to go to New York tomorrow. Let's go. My friend will be like, no, I have a date with my girl or something. Now come out, that friend, I have work, I can't go. So I created this thing in my head that I needed a travel partner.
Okay.
So how I found this little blue monkey that kept on bugging me. Like I think I saw this monkey in 4 different cities in 1 week. The same monkey. The same monkey? No lie. The same monkey, but not from the same person, but from different people. But I was in one country, but in different cities in that country.
You saw a blue monkey.
This blue monkey kept on hunting me, just hunting me, just hunting me. So I'm like, you know what? Finally, you know, I'll just get it. I got it and it couldn't fit in my bag because my rucksack was full. I always travel with just a rucksack, so it was full. So I hanged it like the hand. I stapled the hands together on the bag, so that.
So it's not a real monkey, but it's a blue monkey.
No, I'm telling the story first.
Okay.
So I stapled this teddy bear monkey on my bag, and that was it. Everywhere I traveled, it holds on. So I never took it off again. It stayed on. So as years, like this is about 15 years ago. So as years went along, I must have gone to Tamale, and one of my friends has monkeys, and I'm like, hold on, I have a blue monkey that I travel with. I want a real one. He goes, oh, my monkey's pregnant, so
if he gives,
when he gives birth, come back.
It.
So I said, cool. So about maybe 2 months down, like, he goes, oh, I have a surprise for you. He's my friend, so he always says that I forgot my monkey. I forgot about the monkey. So he said, I'm coming to Accra. I have to come by road. I go, why don't you fly? Like, it's easier to fly, blah, blah. He goes, no, I want to come by road. Whoever. He calls me, he got to Accra maybe about, I don't know, late at night, about 1 o'clock. Went to meet him and he gave me this little cute, about this small, in my hand.
Just
like,
a baby.
Wow. Like, it melts your heart. So I took the monkey home, just trying to study the monkey, reading about monkeys, just studying it and just find out how I could bond with the monkey. Obviously, I took it to the vet, got his injections, blah, blah, blah. Find out what he likes, what he doesn't like, how he likes to play, blah, blah. So, and my son, I have a son, Freedom. So Freedom saw the monkey, Freedom fell in love with the monkey, started playing together. How do I now separate the monkey from my son? It's not possible. So now we have a little family member, SG, in the house.
SG.
And that's one of the family members. So the blue monkey started from the teddy bear now to the real one. So that's how you see. So my logo is just always the monkey, the blue monkey.
I knew there was a story behind it because I was like,
yeah.
I know you're very deep. So I was like, I was going to ask him, what's up with you and that blue monkey?
Yeah, so that's
the story.
That's the SG, always hanging on.
Is your monkey a female or a male?
A female, small girl.
So maybe you can reproduce, you never know. And maybe I could come for one when it happens. Maybe we could talk about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, beautiful story there. But back to music. Which veteran artists do you think you can partner with? We've got a lot of Ghanaian musicians, olden days with Rain.
I think now, my mom used to play Amachi Day a lot.
Amachi Day.
Back in the days when I was younger. And obviously, Reggie's like the grandpapa. I like Reggie too.
Grandpapa Reggie.
So those two, I mean.
Amachi or Reggie? Yeah,
these two are, I mean, they change or they're part of my journey. Because I listen to Reggie. Reggie started Hip Life. I mean, we're all listening to Hip Life. So, I mean, it's part of the journey that it would be nice to collaborate with him too. Then, obviously, Amachi Day was like, when my mom was sad at home or when she's cooking and all that. That's what they used to listen to, all this old school music. I used to call them bugger music, but that was what they used to listen to. It still rings in my head.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Great. You're still watching Talk Entertainment on GhanaWeb TV with me, Paula Amabroni. I'm seated with Small God. It's getting interesting, but when we come back from this break, we get talking. Welcome back. Before we went on that break, I asked Small God the veteran artist he would love to, work with or partner with. Now your tattoos, I cannot say I didn't take notice of it, but I know tattoos got meanings. Everyone tells a story.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, the stories are deep. You want to read one? There you go.
Too rare to live, too rare to die.
Exactly.
You're rare, like I must say.
So last one. Let's leave it. Let's continue.
Let's leave it there. Yeah. But did you do it here in Ghana? Or?
Different countries. I kind of put them as I go along so that it tells the story.
All right, great. Now back to telling stories. I would love to ask you, let's get a little bit personal.
Yeah.
do you still remember the name of your childhood sweetheart back in the day?
Childhood sweetheart. Did I have one? Did I have one?
Don't tell me you were the hard guy who never
Did
gave
I have
up.
a sweetheart? I don't think I had one in like
really?
childhood sweetheart. I don't think so. Maybe it was maybe the teacher or something. I don't know. I never had one.
But small girl, do you have a family?
Of course I have a family. I'm a grown-ass man, dog.
I know you mentioned of your son.
Yeah, I have a son, I have a partner. I mean, I have 2 kids.
This is a sad news for all those who are eyeing small God. He said he's got a family, he got a partner, and wonderful family. So, I think this is the end of the road for you guys.
Are you expecting me to be just sitting there?
Oh, no, but you know, with musicians, sometimes they say once you get there, it's hard to pick a partner. No. You don't know what you're coming in for.
I've been with my partner for 15 years.
Wow, wow, that's big.
I've tried.
That's big. You're doing great. I know you've had a lot of success when it comes to music, but what would you consider as your biggest gig?
Wow, the biggest gig?
Biggest gig, like just as it in your career, in what you do.
I think it also is just, if your first album is like your biggest one you could ever feel, because you work so hard on that one. It's the first one, so it's like the prototype. You're actually going through, you're going to go through your ups and downs, your no's and yes, you're going to go through all this. So it's always your first baby.
Okay.
So I think that's
now,
the rest that comes with it.
Yeah. One thing I observe is that your album is loaded. You got Ghanaian artists, international, Nigerians, you work with a lot of people.
Yeah, but what I represent, as I said to you, I represent Africa, not just Ghana per se, Africa and the diaspora, the world. So if I'm bringing Africa and diaspora, I'm bringing them both. So I have to tap into every side of Africa. Let's say north, south, east, west, central. So once I do that, then I know I've done what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Then you go to diaspora, then you tap into that side and also bring you home.
Yeah. Now your debut album, Building Bridges.
Building Bridges.
And then the second one, Connecting the Dots.
Yeah.
What really went into it? Like the selection, as you said, you like to work with Africans, it's like the whole thing. Yeah. But one would say, for an album that is solid, like, there's not even no bad song on it. I personally listened to Building Bridges and Connecting the Dots, and I'm like, this is everything. It's like you tap into this genre, you tap into that. It's not like one way.
That's what I say. When I'm making an album, I think of all scenarios, all situations. Like as we're sitting here, if we want to play music, I think about, okay, what kind of music can we put in the background that will not disturb this conversation? Then I'll make one like that. Okay, like you're driving, what kind of music would you listen to? Now I'll find one that will fit that. So I'm catering for every occasion. Where they Koso, they need a song, they need one. Obi girl, Anya, there's a scenario in your Aquaman.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Of course, I fucked up. And it's all scenarios. What am I saying? So you have to plan for everything. So that's how I make an album.
And I love your style. It's unique. I know you say, okay, this is a small God song, but you not hear like his. Usually we think, okay, this is you featuring maybe Tiwa Savage and Kwesi Arthur. We expect that maybe you hear the person's voice. But
which voice? This one.
So how did you create that style for yourself? Because I feel like Master KG, I know he does that. Yeah.
So what happens? It's like DJ Khaled. What does he do?
He does the beat, like the production.
Okay, you sit with the producers, you create the beats and all that.
Yeah.
And you direct what artist goes on there. So you're like executive producer. You do everything with them, and you make it happen. It's your song, so you featuring them. I didn't sing, but I was part of the creation.
Yeah.
I was part of the beat making. I was part of the writing. I was part of all these things. So yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes
it might not be your voice.
Your voice.
But you're there. DJ Khaled is dropping, but okay, you can hear him screaming. We're the best. But
we're the best.
I can't say we're the best. So,
but anyway, sometimes we get lucky and then we see your face flash in the music video. So I think that's...
In my own music video, maybe. No, you see me in Kwaku's video.
Oh, okay. So it's intentional that you don't appear in your...
It's not my shine. It's the artist supposed to shine, not me.
That's the brain behind it.
The artists are supposed... They're singing. They're dancing. It's their shine. It's not for me to come and say, oh, I want to take the shine. It's not. No, it's not.
Just for the artist.
It's the artists. They're supposed to take the shine. It's their platform.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It's their stage. They enjoy it.
Great. Now, if you pay attention to the names of your albums, Building Bridges, Connecting the Dots, it looks like it all tells a story.
Yes, it's a storytelling.
So, why that selection of name purposely? Because I know maybe the next one will be in connection to...
As I said to you, I was building bridge between Africa and the West.
The West.
So that's Building Bridges.
The debut album.
Yeah, that was Building Bridges. Then I came back of Connecting the Dots. Some of the dots wasn't connected when you're building a bridge. Because some of them maybe I'm very cruise now, baby. So you have to come and tighten it. So that's Connecting the Dots. So the third one that's coming in October.
Oh, okay. We have a new one coming.
October. Great. Bridging the Gap.
Building Bridges, Connecting the Dot, Bridging the Gap.
Yeah, so it's all storytelling going.
Storytelling.
Yeah, so it all comes together.
Together. Great. Then, if you don't know, let me just mention some of the artists that Small God has on his song. So he's got like African Giant. You got Tiwa Savage on the song, Tubaba, R2Bs. This South African singer, I always get her name wrong. Bisuswa.
Yeah, she's crazy. Yeah, Bisuswa.
I love her style.
Bisuswa.
So you got her, you got UG, you got Harmonize, Samini, Kwams and Flavor, Asaka Boys too. I know you did a thing with them. Charlie.
I F with them, man. They have Kwaku DMC, O'Kenneth, I mean, YG.
Yeah.
He's hard.
Those boys are hard, Charlie.
I mean, there are more of them. Like, I can't put all them on the. There's Reggie, there's J Bad. There's all them, but you can't put all them on one song. So yeah, we pick them one by one as we go along, but we'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
On the back of all you just said, you make it happen. Would you say that in your own contributing your own quarter, have you been able to bridge the gap, or there's more work to do, more hands on deck?
I mean, I can't do by myself. There's more to do. So I mean, I'm trying. I'm playing my part, and I'm just saying the rest of this. We need more of me. Let's gather. Let's make it work. You know, let's make it work. Let's help each other.
Yeah.
Let's push this. Let's push Ghana. Let's forget individuality. Let's put Ghana first. Let's push Ghana.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the only way we can also rise and stand up and say, yeah, we're here. Because now at the moment we're just doing individuality, like me.
Nah,
I feel like we should put Ghana first.
Great.
Once we put Ghana first, I guess we'll rise.
I strongly believe that. But one of the songs that lives rent-free in my head is Giddy Giddy.
Ooh.
Yeah, Charlie. I don't know, maybe it's because Black Hole is on it, that's what I'm being biased with that. Yeah. But then I know Big Arts, the Canadian rapper, and then our very own Black Sharif. How did you get that collaboration together? Like, because that is a solid one.
Well, the song was done a year before it came out.
Oh.
No. We did it. We recorded the first, me and Black did the first part.
Okay.
Then we kept it. Obviously, we had other songs that we dropped before that. But this one, I was trying to look for the right person to collaborate with him, like to connect with him. So, I mean, we went around just trying to search the right person. Then a friend of mine called Drew in America was having a session, and he goes, "Oh, Maji, where's that song you played for me? Blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Oh, why?" He goes, "Yeah, I have blah 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 here." I'm like, "Oh, cool, let me talk." We just had a conversation, blah blah blah. We connected, and I sent the song across. So he listens to it. He's like, he called me back FaceTime, screaming, "Yo, this is crazy, man. This idea, I like the idea. What's the meaning of what he's saying?" I had to break it down, not to the perfect, but I broke it down as much as I can. So I even called Black and said, "Yo, can you break it down more for me, because I speak cheap, but you know Blacko goes hard." So we broke it down. I explained to him. He went in. Just, I mean, it's good to be Ghanaian. It's good to be African. It's cool to be African. So everybody's trying to. So him hearing it and also trying to connect with his roots, it fits perfect. He listens to it, likes it. He goes in, that's his part, send it across. I listen to it, and he goes, "Yeah, I like what I heard first." He goes, "No, I want to go in again." Like, wow, the guy wants to kill the song. We send it back to him. He goes in again, came back. I played it to Blacko. Blacko goes, "No, I want to go in as well." So Blacko goes in again.
Charlie.
It's like, I like the energy because everybody wanted to give their best.
Okay.
And they gave their best, and I mean, that's why you also love it.
That's why it's living rent-free in my head.
If they never gave their best,
it wouldn't have come out.
Yeah, so.
Now, the music video for that, the visuals, is unique. It's something I have not seen.
Yeah.
And like you pictured I spoke to some places in Ghana, and then how you wrote.
I did that.
Gosh, like,
it's a crazy idea.
I love things which are different. Like, give me something that is different, something that will get me
talking. I thought
talking.
about this for too long, but at the end, that's what we came with.
It's perfect.
It was.
It was.
I was scared to give it to the world because I thought they would judge. But who am I? I mean, sometimes I don't give an F. So I said, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to give it to them. It's something new, something different. Let me start it. Maybe everybody will join the trend after.
I'm sure. I'll be looking out for that.
Yeah, so
if you haven't checked out the visuals for Gidi Gidi, do check it out. It's on YouTube.
Because I don't want it to be just a normal visual, but just reading. Because sometimes I do, and sometimes I lose concentration and I forget it. But if you make it fun,
yeah,
they're waiting to see what's next.
Charlie.
And that's how to engage them on there.
Great. So before we wrap up our conversation, I wouldn't say I haven't taken notice of your style. I love your style.
Thank you.
Like, gives you a little bit of street, but then it's class.
So we spoke about this for about a year, 2 years, and we came home. So when we came, we did a collaboration. So we keep on doing, every year I do collaborations with them. Okay. So, I mean, as you always see me, I always wear things from people I know. I try to promote. Yeah. Obviously, sometimes you wear the odd ones you don't know, but mostly what I promote my own people. That's what I'm very strong on, promoting our people. So that's what I do. So I wear them a lot because they're my people. Okay. I mean, see me wearing Free the Youth. These are my kids. See me wearing. There's so many names. I can't even mention it. You understand what I'm saying? Big Lomo. You see me wearing a lot of names, but they're all my people because why not? Do I know the owner of Gucci?
Come to think
Does he know me?
Yeah.
Can I talk to him? I can't. At least why can we talk to the people we know and support them to get them out there? And whatever I can do, I do.
It's about time. It's about time that our celebrities wear the things to promote. Of course, they do it, but you know we can always do more.
Yeah, I mean everybody in their style.
So, what's the most expensive fashion item that you own? Ooh. Something that you really spend millions on? Maybe is it a watch, a shades, sneakers? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I spent a lot. I got a lot of crazy things, but it's not here to come and start having that conversation. But I do spend a lot. I do.
You like the finest things?
Well, you work hard, so why don't you enjoy the finest things in life? That's what you're working for. Or what are you working for?
To enjoy the finest things.
Exactly. So I have to play that part. I work hard. I mean, I work 48 hours a day. If there's 48 hours a day, I work 48 hours a day. I don't sleep.
No break.
Yeah, so I have to enjoy what I'm working for.
Great. You find out words to your fans, you're just supporting, you're just doing the listening and stuff like that.
That's how I always say, shut the fuck up, stop complaining, keep working. Just keep working, stop complaining. That's what happened. Everybody just complain and don't want to work. Once you start complaining, you just make an excuse or just put yourself back. So I always say, just shut the fuck up, keep working and stop complaining. Because once you do that, you move forward. I mean, you call small God, he didn't answer. You don't see how much he never answers, so you're upset and you're waiting.
Keep pushing.
Just be quiet, just keep pushing. I'll find you.
I like that.
It's like me having a conversation with you. I'm sure if I never pushed, won't be having this conversation. You'll be like, who's small God? Charlie, you won't start calling, forget small God.
Charlie, please don't forget small God. Me now, I wanted you. If you could ask your people, Charlie.
Because I was making noise.
Not because you're making noise, because of your works.
Yeah, because of my work. That's why I say shut the fuck up, keep working.
Keep working.
So your work speaks for itself.
Exactly. This is Soulcotainment on GhanaWeb TV. Thanks for doing the watching. I am Paula Amabruni.
executive members. Yeah. We have 8 of them going through. Now, the first we have here is Hawa Dramani. Then we have Justice Lamte. She had 119. Then Bashiru Bano 109. Then we have David Nikwe, also 109. We have Hegabil. Okay, 107. Then we have Janet Montani, also 106. Faustina Tete, 104. And Safiatu. Yeah, Sahiru, 85. They have been duly elected as executive members. We have the Deputy Communication Officer. We have Nancy Ama J 590. Then we have William Enyonam Amenuvo 1039. William is duly elected. Communication Officer. We have Mark Atto 682. Then we have John Brown Kofi. He had 936. John has been declared the winner here. Then we have Deputy Women Organizer. We have Mrs. Doris Anyomi, then Victoria Dodu. Mrs. Doris had 96 and Victoria had 89. Mrs. Doris is duly elected. Women Organizer. We have Sylvia Na Ade, 93. Then we have Alberta Sharp. There's no Sharp here. Ayoko, 89. Sylvia is duly elected as the Women Organizer. Other youth representative. We have Maud Doku, 75. Farida Khalifa, 105. Farida is duly elected. Deputy Youth Organizer Emmanuel Banini, 82. Emmanuel Dorona, 98. Emmanuel Dorona is duly elected as the Deputy Youth Organizer. The Youth Organizer, we have Daniel K. Ofori. He had 80. Theophilus Kwe had 102. Theophilus Kwe is duly elected as the Youth Organizer. Deputy Treasurer, we have Rahina to Isifu, 735. Paul Kwame Mensah, 875. Paul is duly elected. Treasurer, we have Richard Ni Ama Okan, 653. Albert Robertson, 955. Albert Robertson is duly elected as the treasurer. Deputy Organizer, Rochester Botry, 708. Achimon Roxin, 918. Achimon Roxin is duly elected. Organizer, we have Albert Mipali, 510. And Albert Mipali, 510. Then Alfred K. Alote, 1013. So Alfred Alote is duly elected. Deputy Secretary, we have Benedict Crab, 710. And then Eugene Kwame Yafi, 914. I declare Eugene as duly elected. Secretary. Secretary. We have Robert Okwe, 805. Peter K. Agbeli, 814. Peter Agbeli elected. Vice Chairman. We have Theophilus Alute Mouse, 719. Then Paul Ade Kujo, 889. Paul Kujo is duly elected as the Vice Chairman. The Chairman. We have Jofu Atikli Banini, 635. Then we have William Ni Amudodu, 983. I therefore declare Wisdom Ni Amudodu as duly elected chairman. Thank you very much. Executive members, yeah. We have 8 of them going through. Now, the first we have here is Hawa Dramani. Then we have Justice Lamte. She had 119. Then Bashiru Bano, 109. Then we have David Nikwe, also 109. We have Hagan. Hegabil, okay, 107. Then we have Janet, Yvette, Montani, Moti, also 106. Faustina Tete, 104, and Safiatu. Yeah, Tahiru, 85. They have been duly elected as executive members. We have the Deputy Communication Officer. We have Nancy
Three members of Parliament to a Committee of Privileges for their failure to attend Parliament without the permission in writing of the Speaker for 15 sitting days in a meeting. The members were the Honorable Kennedy Ohene Ajepong, MP for Asen Central. Honorable Henry Korti, MP for Ayaoso Central, and Honorable Sarah Ajua Safo, MP for Dome Kwabinya. Pursuant to Article 97(1)(c) of the Constitution, the mandate of the committee involves a determination of facts as to whether the 3 members absented themselves from attendance of Parliament for 15 sitting days, and if so, whether the absence from the 15 days was based on a permission in writing of the Speaker, and in that case, the absence, if not based on such permission, whether the 3 honorable members have reasonable explanations for so absent themselves from those sittings of Parliament. Out of the abundance of caution, it is important to reproduce the constitutional and subsidiary rules that govern how this House must act when the member has absented him or herself from Parliament for 15 sitting days. And I'll start by quoting Clause 1 of Article 97, which provides as follows. 97(1)(c). A member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament if he is absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker, and he is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continues to meet. This provision is not new to our jurisprudence. It started during the Nkrumah era, but differently captured in the constitutions. And people will recall the story of a number of MPs that by virtue of fear left the country, but were receiving their salaries for 2 years, and the issue was raised. And that is what led to the initiation of this whole provision. I'm sure when you read the history, you know the names of the MPs. I won't tell you today. Anybody who wants it can see me in chambers. That time it was 20 days in the session. It was later reduced to 15 days, and they said 15 consecutive days. The 1992 Constitution decided to reduce it further. They took away the consecutive and made it 15 days. This time not in a session, but in a meeting. So there's vast difference. The Constitution also was not using the word vacate. The Constitution was using the word cease to be. This should not be lost on any person when you are analyzing this article. Honorable members, this is, in my humble opinion, a very straightforward provision. It states that if 3 events occur, an MP must vacate his or her seat. These are: 1, unpermitted absence. 2, from 15 sittings in the meeting. 3, inability to provide a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges. It is evident from the wording of the article that this is a conjunctive article. This means all 3 events must be established for an MP to vacate his or her seat. 3, the constitutional provision is supplemented, however, by Order 16.1 of the Standing Orders of Parliament. With your kind permission, I quote 16.1. A member shall not absent himself during a meeting for more than 15 sittings without the permission in writing of the Speaker. Any member infringing this order shall have his conduct referred to the Privileges Committee, unquote. Furthermore, Order 18 of the Standing Orders provides the seat of a member shall be declared vacant by Mr. Speaker under Clause 1B to H of Article 97 of the Constitution, unquote. Honorable members, there is a school of thought that holds the view that once a member of Parliament has been found to have been absent from Parliament for 15 sitting days without the permission of the Speaker, the seat of that member is vacant. This view found expression in the submissions of a number of members of Parliament of this Parliament on this matter. I totally disagree with this school of thought because it is based on a partial reading of the text of the Constitution as contained in Article 97(1)(c), and I referred to you the 3 ingredients. Read as a whole, Article 97(1)(c) contemplates that a seat of a member which has been determined, for example, through an audit of the attendance book by the table office, or a member or any other person to have been unoccupied by the absence from Parliament of an incumbent MP for 15 sitting days without the permission in writing of the Speaker may still be saved if that member provides a reasonable explanation to the Committee on Privileges. The findings of fact and evidence, as well as the recommendations of the committee, are then presented to the House of Parliament for its consideration. The order, mode, and authority for the presentation of business and of the report of the committee to the House is by a motion or a paper to be moved or presented usually by the chairman of the committee, a member of the committee, or as otherwise agreed to by the House. See Standing Orders 53, 54, 160, and 161. Item 55 on the order paper of Thursday, 28 July 2022 read as follows, and I quote, that this Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee of Privileges on the alleged breach of Article 97(1)(c) of the 1992 Constitution and Order 16.1 of the Standing Orders of Parliament by 3 members of Parliament during the first meeting of the second session of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana, unquote, and under it was chairman of the committee. which meant the chairman was called upon to move that motion. As captured in the introductory paragraphs of this ruling, the Honorable Majority Leader raised an objection to the listing of the said item. He alluded, in addition to what has been captured above, that the motion ought not to have been listed on the order paper, as the information that came from the Committee of Privileges should have been submitted as a paper. He argued further that the matter in issue should not be the subject matter of a motion, as it does not require the approval of Parliament. The Honourable Majority Leader added that once the Committee of Privileges made a determination as to the reasonableness or otherwise of the excuse provided by the Honourable Members of Parliament for their absence, an automatic determination was made as to the vacancy of the seat in question, and that the House as a whole had no role to play. The Majority Leader relied on some provisions in the Constitution where the work of the Committee of Parliament was not subject to consideration of the House. According to him, in those instances, upon the conclusion of the work of the committee, this House becomes functus officio. The Honourable Majority Leader cited, among others, the role that the Committee on Finance plays when the committee authorizes the withdrawal of funds from the contingency fund, and I quote, whenever that committee is satisfied that there has arisen an urgent or unforeseen need for expenditure for which no other provision exists to meet the need, unquote. See Article 171(1) of the Constitution. For purposes of emphasis, the Honourable Minority Leader argued in favour of the listing of the motion. In the view of the Minority Leader, based on the precedence of the House, rather than argue against the listing of the motion, the appropriate step to take was for the Majority Leader to request the Speaker to call on the Chairman of the committee to move the motion on the floor, since the matter had been referred to the committee and the committee has submitted its report to the House. The Minority Leader also relied on the statement in the judgment of the Court of Appeal in the case of Professor Stephen Kweku Asare versus the Attorney General and 3 others. Unreported 2008, suit number H1/65/07, Court of Appeal. And he quoted that, I quote, the Speaker referred the letter to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges, which met on 22nd February 2006 and recommended to the House of Parliament on 2nd March 2006, unquote. The Honourable Minority Leader took the position that any recommendation from the Committee of Privileges must be subjected to the same threshold as held to the same standard as was done in the case of the former Member of Parliament for Nkranza North, Mr. Eric Amoate. The reply of the Majority Leader to the above submission of the Minority Leader is that the procedure adopted by the House in the Eric Amoate's case is a bad precedent and same should not be followed by this House. From the foregoing summary of the preliminary objection of the Honourable Majority Leader and the response to the objection by the Honourable Minority Leader, I can see clearly that 2 pertinent issues have been raised for my determination. These are: 1, whether the motion advertised as item 55 on the order paper ought not to have been admitted and listed as a motion, but as a paper for the information of the House. And 2, whether this House has power to consider and adopt the report of the Committee on Privileges on this matter. Honorable members, you may recall that I delivered a ruling dated 20th January 2021, which dealt with the competence and admissibility of motions. In that ruling, I noted that the admissibility or otherwise of a motion for listing on the order paper was the exclusive preserve of the Speaker. My power to admit motions is provided for under Orders 78 and 79(4) of the Standing Orders as follows. (78) Unless any order otherwise provides, notice shall be given of any motion which is proposed to make, except the following. A motion relating to contempt of Parliament. B, a motion for the adjournment of the House or of a debate. C, a motion that a petition be read, printed, or referred to a select or standing committee. D, a motion to amend a motion of which no notice is required or which is debated 24 hours after notice has been given. E, a motion that a member be no longer heard. F, a motion for the reference of a bill to a committee. G, a motion for the third reading of a bill. H, a motion for the withdrawal of a bill. I, a motion for the withdrawal of a motion. J, a motion for the election of a member to preside in the House. And K, any motion, the agency of which is admitted by Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, Order 79(4) reads as follows. Every notice shall be submitted to Mr. Speaker, who shall direct that it be printed in its original form or with such amendments as he shall direct, or that it be returned to the member submitting it as being inadmissible, unquote. It is clear from the above provisions that the power to admit a motion is vested exclusively in the Speaker. It is tried knowledge that the exercise of that power by the Speaker is not subject to challenge except by a substantive motion. You can see Order 98 of the Standing Orders of Parliament and go through the usual practice of the House. A mere objection without notice on the floor of this House is not a sufficient basis to overturn the decision to admit a motion such as the motion advertised as item number 55 on the order paper of 28th July 2022. Be that as it may, the Honorable Majority Leaders object the propriety of the decision to admit the motion number 55 on the said order paper. As defined in Order 7 of the Standing Orders, a motion, and I quote, means a proposal made by a member that Parliament or a committee thereof do something, order something to be done, or express an opinion concerning some matter, unquote. In simple terms, and in accordance with accepted practice and conventions of this House, A motion is a mechanism for decision making by the House because it sets in motion the process for arriving at a decision. Such a motion may be admitted by the Speaker to be moved if before the commencement of the sitting, the member submits to the Speaker a written notification of the matter to be raised. When the Speaker determines that a motion or a specific matter be moved, such a motion would be considered admitted and the member shall be allowed to move the motion accordingly. The Honourable Majority Leader further submitted forcefully that the motion listed as number 55 on the order paper is incompetent and ought to have been laid in the form of a paper for the information of the House. Implicit in this argument is the notion that when the report of a committee is laid as a paper, then its content is determinative, and that this House cannot purport to take any further action on it by way of a debate and vote. This dichotomy that the Honourable Majority Leader sought to draw between a paper and a motion is, with all due respect, a false dichotomy. It is a comparison that does not yield accurate analytical outcomes. And I will proceed to demonstrate why this is so. The standing orders of this House provide for the presentation of papers. In terms of Order 74, papers may be presented only by the Speaker, the Chairman of a committee, a member, or a minister. The mode of presentation of papers is governed by Order 75, which provides, among others, that, and I quote, 1. As soon as sufficient copies of a paper for distribution to members have been received in the office of the clerk, notice of the presentation of that paper may be placed on the order paper. And as soon as Mr. Speaker announces papers for presentation, the paper shall be deemed to have been laid on the table. 2, if so desired by the person presenting a paper, a short explanatory statement may be made by him upon its presentation, unquote. The tenor of the provisions on the presentation of papers suggests to me that the latitude of action regarding deliberation, debate, and decision is extremely restricted when papers are laid. However, it does not mean, as the Majority Leader sought to imply, that this House cannot take steps to adopt or approve such a paper by motion. As a matter of practice and convention of some parliaments, papers are laid for the information of the House and may not be the subject matter of deliberation, debate, and decision. But a paper that is in the form of a report of a committee of this House may be laid and debated using the method of a motion, save expressly and specifically accepted by law. This position is buttressed by the requirements of standing orders of this House, particularly Order 161, which stipulates that recommendations of a committee be presented in the House in the form of a report, and that, quote, at any time after the report has been presented to the House, a motion may be moved by the chairman of the committee for the acceptance of the report, unquote. See paragraph 2, Order 161. This provision would definitely be rendered inutile if we were to accept the position adumbrated by the Honourable Majority Leader. Moreover, Presidents from other jurisdictions support the view that I have taken of this matter. For instance, You can read a publication of the Parliament of Australia titled House of Representatives Practice 7th edition, relating to the committee of that house known as the Committee of Privileges and Members' Interests. And that report details the practice following the laying of a report of the committee as follows, and I quote, "On presentation of the committee's report to the House by the Chair, the practice is for the report to be ordered to be made a parliamentary paper. The House may then order that it be taken into consideration at the next sitting or on a specified day. A motion or motions may be moved declaratory of the House's view on the committee's report and recommendations and in respect of the House's proposed action," unquote. Also referred to the practice on this matter in New Zealand, India, particularly the Lok Sabha, United Kingdom, look at the rules of the House of Commons, Canada, and the United States of America. I've taken the trouble to go through all these rules. Having disposed of the question whether the report of the Committee on Privileges ought to have come by way of a motion or whether it ought to have been laid as a paper, I will now turn my attention to the substantive issue of whether the House sitting in plenary can consider the report of the committee for purposes of its adoption. Honourable members, you may recall that in my former statement on matters relating to the vacancy of the seat of a member of Parliament for reason of absence from Parliament, I provided a context on how the House ought to proceed on the matter of absenteeism and what steps should be taken in that respect. After a careful review of the constitutional provisions, outstanding orders, the case law, and the rules and practice of other parliaments around the world on a matter of absenteeism of a member of Parliament for sittings of Parliament, I noted that a member or any person would be stopped from raising an issue of absenteeism after the meeting, and thus a member of Parliament or any person that desirous of doing same must act timeously during the course of the meeting that the member is alleged to have absented himself from the sittings. I also noted that the combined effect of our Constitution, standing orders, and case law provides a certain process to be followed when it comes to the notice of the House that a member had absented himself or herself from the sittings of Parliament in a manner that is inconsistent with the letter and spirit of Article 97(1)(c) of the 1992 Constitution. For the avoidance of doubt, I reiterate what I highlighted in that statement, and I particularly will refer to paragraph 19 of the statement, and it reads as follows. 19. In the light of the combined reading of the provisions in the Constitution and the standing orders above, coupled with a decision of the Court of Appeal on the question of when a seat of a member of Parliament is vacant by reason of absenteeism, the following processes should be complied with. 1. The member must have been absent from a meeting for 15 sittings in that meeting without the permission of the Speaker in writing, based on the evidence from the votes and proceedings of Parliament. 2. The fact of the absence of the member without permission of the Speaker may be raised on the floor of Parliament by a member, and the matter referred to a Committee of Privileges for consideration and report to the House. 3. The members so referred shall be required to offer an explanation for the absence to the Committee of Privileges, which shall consider whether the explanation is reasonable. 4. The Committee of Privileges, after consideration, shall recommend to the House such action as the committee may consider appropriate. 5. The House shall vote on the recommendation of the committee. Where in the event that the committee's recommendation to the House is to the effect that the members' explanation is reasonable, and the House adopts that recommendation, the member's seat shall not be declared vacant. Where in the event that the committee's recommendation to the House is to the effect that the member's explanation is unreasonable, and the House adopts that recommendation, the member's seat shall be declared vacant by Mr. Speaker. Where Mr. Speaker has declared a seat vacant by reason of absenteeism, the Clerk to Parliament shall, within 7 days of the declaration, notify the Electoral Commission for the necessary processes for a by-election to commence, unquote. Having regard to the process outlined above, the Committee of Privileges considered the matter of absenteeism involving the 3 members who had absented themselves from sittings of the House in a meeting without the permission in writing of the Speaker. I will give a fuller explanation of the role each of the actors plays in this matter, only if necessary, at the conclusion of this matter. Suffice for this purpose to restrict myself to the role of the Committee of Privileges. The committee has a singular mandate in respect of these matters, and that is to establish that the member absented him or herself from the sitting of Parliament for 15 days in a meeting without the permission of the Speaker in writing, require into the reasonableness, I should say inquire, not require, inquire into the reasonableness or otherwise of the explanation offered by the affected member or members, and to report to the House. Order 7 defines a standing committee like the Committee of Privileges as a committee appointed under Article 1031 of the Constitution to inquire into and report on such matters as may be referred to it from time to time or on a continuous basis for the declaration of Parliament. The Committee of Privileges is a committee of Parliament constituted pursuant to Article 103 of the Constitution. As a committee of Parliament, the way in which the committee conducts itself is regulated by the standing orders of the House. It is provided by Article 1101 of the Constitution 1992 that, and I quote, subject to the provisions of the Constitution, Parliament may, by standing orders, regulate its own proceedings, unquote. Article 97(1)(c) stipulates the conditions under which the seat of a member of Parliament may be vacant. Put differently, once the member has A, been absent from Parliament for 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament, B, not obtained the permission of Mr. Speaker in writing to be absent, and C, cannot offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges, the member automatically vacates the seat. This is the position that was endorsed in the case of Professor Stephen Kweku Asare versus the Attorney General and 3 others, unreported 2008 Court of Appeal. And I want to quote what they said. The plaintiff appellant, hereafter referred to as the appellant, contends that once a member absents himself from Parliament without explanation for more than 15 sittings in this case, that member's seat automatically becomes vacant by operation of law. This argument is sound in law and are accepted, unquote. On the other hand, Order 161 of the Standing Orders provides: 1. The recommendations of a report of committee shall be presented to the House in the form of a report. 2. At any time after the report has been presented to the House, a motion may be moved by the chairman of the committee for the acceptance of the report. Our orders specifically require that the recommendations of a committee must be subject to the consideration of the House, and that the plenary plays an important role in choosing to adopt or reject the recommendations. The rationale for this structure is that committees of Parliament are macrocosms and extensions of the House as a whole. They are handmaidens whose core constitutional function is to assist Parliament, in the language of Article 1031 of the Constitution, in, I quote, the effective discharge of its functions, unquote. There are, however, a few exceptions to this general rule. As noted by the Majority Leader, Articles 106(13), and that's clause 13, and 177 provide instances where the Committee of Parliament's work operates to automatically bind the House, and no consideration whatsoever is required by the plenary in these matters. May I add that it is also the case with the recommendations of the Committee of Members holding office of profit. In such instances, the Constitution specifically says so. Very clearly stated in the Constitution. Most parliamentary decisions are made by the House acting on the recommendations of one of its committees. It does not follow that all decisions in Parliament must be done that way. Where the Constitution itself specifies a particular process for deciding, then it is that process that must be followed. This is because general things do not derogate from special things. However, in contrast with these instances cited, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, expressly stated or necessarily implied in Article 97(1)(c) to the effect that the conclusion of the work of the Committee of Privileges also concludes the matter, and no action may be taken by the House on the findings and recommendations of the committee. Furthermore, the instances cited are not referrals from the House to the Committee of the House. Article 177, for instance, indicates that the advances from the contingency fund may be authorized by the Committee for Finance once the committee is satisfied that there has arisen an urgent or unforeseen need for expenditure for which no other provision exists to meet the need. The plenary in this case is not seized with jurisdiction to make a reference or determination on the decision of the Committee for Finance. In fact, the Constitution says the committee in charge of financial matters. The distinction between this provision and Article 97(1)(c) is that in the case of the former, no reference is made by the House in any way to the Committee for Finance. The minister responsible for finance in making a request for an advance from the contingency fund is not required to come to the House, but can submit his request to the Committee for Finance. The House plays no role in the process. The Constitution mandates the Minister of Finance, after the authorization of the Committee of Finance, to as soon as possible present a supplementary estimate for the purpose of replacing the amount so advanced. That's what is stated in the Constitution. And that is very different from the position in Article 97(1)(c). On the contrary, in relation to the matter before us, the absenteeism of the 3 members is referred to the committee in accordance with Article 97(1)(c), after the allegation that the members were absent for 15 days without permission in writing by the Speaker. A committee of the House is then called upon to inquire into the allegations and report to the House for a decision. I find the position canvassed strongly by the Majority Leader as untenable, for the simple reason that where the framers of the Constitution intended that the committee be clothed with exclusive jurisdiction on a matter without reference to the House, it has expressly, as in the case of Article 106(13) and 177, indicated so within the text of the Constitution. To the extent that a similar express mandate is not conferred on the Privileges Committee in respect of matters arising under Article 97(1)(c), Parliament's procedure with respect to the committees must of necessity apply. To imply any mandate into Article 97(1)(c) is one I am not prepared to do. Pursuant to Article 110 of the Constitution, my understanding is that where the Constitution does not provide a procedure, Parliament may regulate the procedure within that space as long as it does not offend the Constitution. It is in accordance with this power that Parliament captured the dictates of Article 71(c) in Order 16(1), which is to the effect that once a member is alleged to be in breach of the provision, his conduct is referred to the Committee of Privileges for inquiry. For the purpose of reiterating my humble view, once a referral has been made, therefore, the report of the committee does not complete the inquiry into the matter. The report of the Committee of Privileges, just like any other committee, is subject to the consideration of the House by way of a motion. Again, I am inspired and convinced this position of the law by the provision of the Constitution, rules of procedure and practice of the United Kingdom, India, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. In conclusion, honorable members, as I have noted in this ruling, the decision as to whether or not to admit a motion is the exclusive preserve of the Speaker. In view of the foregoing, the House is well within its rights to receive and consider the report of the committee and make a determination arising out of the recommendations. In the circumstances, it is my ruling that the motion was rightfully admitted and the report of the committee is subject to the consideration of the House. It goes without saying that the preliminary objection of the Majority Leader to the admissibility of the motion for consideration of the report of the committee is hereby dismissed in limine. members, I did indicate that I will give my understanding at the end of the debate on this matter, and I'll give you copious referral notes on this issue. It's my humble view that even what the table office does in trying to compute the days that a member absents himself is not final. It's for the committee to investigate and establish the facts. Again, the fact that the speaker, or is alleged that the speaker has not given permission in writing, is also not final. Evidence must be produced before the committee. And the last thing is for the committee. The fact that the committee says, oh, this reason is reasonable, this reason is not reasonable, it's not also final. It's for the House that will go through it, because give it to an MP. Representation is so crucial that it cannot be left to the subjective view of any person or group of people, but the whole House. Please, honorable members, table office will accordingly list the motion, and this House will continue to deliberate and debate on it and take a final decision. I so rule. I recognize the majority leader. I see he's on his feet.
We are the complainant, all of us.
Speaker, thank you very much for your expressing what you indicated was going to be a ruling which you characterized as an informed ruling. Speaker, you have sent us on a very labyrinthine, tortuous and torturous journey. And clearly, I must state that I didn't know where you're taking this house. Mr. Speaker, by way of conclusion, you said the House should go through the recommendations of the committee in order to make a determination. I refer you to what you said earlier, that the House will not go through
Honorable the majority leader, my ruling is not subject to debate. You can say you disagree with me.
Yes.
And you know what to do. Simple. You cannot go and be quoting my ruling and trying to state your position on that. That definitely is not allowed by our rules.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you have read your ruling, which I consider very...
Majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, yes, you will not listen to me. You will not listen to me. I've got the patience to listen to you. You must also listen to me. Mr. Speaker, you have made a ruling which I totally disagree with. totally disagree with. I think it doesn't sit with the Constitution, and we must be able to comment.
Honorable members, the majority leader is entitled to totally disagree with me. So allow him to say it, and then he knows what to do. So yes, go on.
Precisely. That's because I know what to do. And I'm expressing my discomfort with this unfortunate ruling that you have made. I totally disagree. I think it doesn't sit with the Constitution and with your own earlier statement that you made in this House relating to this same thing. Very inconsistent. To that extent, Mr. Speaker, I'm serving notice. We know what to do. We come with a substantive motion to challenge your ruling, which I find very obsequious. Very obsequious. And it doesn't sit in this House. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Majority Leader, as I stated earlier on, you are totally entitled to disagree with me. But to describe my ruling as unfortunate is a choice of word that by our rules. Read Order 93. Read Order 93. The fact that you disagree with me does not mean that your disagreement is sacrosanct. I will never use the words unfortunate on your disagreement. I believe that that word offends against the Order 93, and I'll ask you to withdraw that word and apologize to me.
Mr. Speaker, is it the first time the word unfortunate has been used in this House? Or you want to reset the rules of this House? When I say that this statement is unfortunate, that is offensive. With the greatest respect, Mr. Speaker, I want you to indicate to me in the context what is offensive about saying that your ruling I find unfortunate. Mr. Speaker, on almost daily basis, this word has been used in this. Or is it the case you want to reset the rules of this House? Mr. Speaker, I am not angelic. But if you tell me that in the context of usage, I find it maybe unparliamentary and I have to withdraw, I will. But I don't find it, and so I don't find it unparliamentary. But I'm in your hands. I want to listen further to you.
Majority Leader, thank you so much. You recall when you were Minority Leader, you were Majority Leader, and your deputy was Honorable Dominic Nitiwul. I was Minority Leader, and I used the word, I was Majority Leader, you were Minority Leader. I used the word, you don't understand, in trying to explain a matter, and your deputy objected to my choice of the word, you don't understand. That meant it was an insult to your intelligence. The Right Honorable Do Ajahu, who was presiding, called on me to withdraw that apology, and I did. I'm sure you recollect that because you have a sharp memory.
The Speaker, words have meanings in the context of usage. That's why I'm urging you, in the context of usage, what is unparliamentary about me saying that your ruling I find unfortunate?
I only decided to engage with you and give you this latitude because you have been with me for a long time. And when I was leader in 2001, I think you were a deputy whip. And I went around the whole world with you, always leading you. I expected that now that you have learned so much, you are entitled to always disagree and argue with me. But I'm still older than you. And you always remain my friend until doomsday. Whether you agree or disagree with me, whether you are fighting me or not, you will still remain my friend. With this, we move to item 4. Item 4. Correction of votes and proceedings and official reports. Honorable members, we will look at the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 25th October 2022. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page, yes, page 9. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, page 8.
Yes, page 8.
Number 37. Liwal Oscar.
Liwal Oscar.
Yes, I was present yesterday.
but my name has been marked absent.
Yes, table office. Please kindly take note. The honorable member for Uyo says he was around yesterday. So we now move to page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings, Majority Chief, yes?
If you may endure, I tried to catch your attention. Page 16, a business committee meeting. I was present. Just realized that my name is missing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, table office, please cross-check from the reports of the clerk to the committee and do the right thing. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of the first sitting held on Tuesday, 25th October 2024 are hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, we are ready to take item 8. Item 8, at the commencement of public business.
Okay.
Item 8, Speaker.
Honorable members, there is a request from the Majority Chief Whip for us to move straight away to public business. Minority leadership, what do you say to the request?
Item 8.
Mr. Speaker, at the pre-sitting there was this understanding that we could take the Pan-African Parliament and ECOWAS Parliament reports, and then from there we could adjourn. So, Mr. Speaker, it's in line with the discussion held before we came in. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, honorable members, at the commencement of public business, item 6, presentation of papers. The following papers to be presented: A, no;
We go to which one?
Speaker, with respect, we are taking item 8 on page 3. Yes.
Straight to item 8. Motion that this Honorable House adopt the report of the representatives of the Parliament of Ghana to the 4th ordinary session of the 5th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament held from 27th June to 2nd July 2022 in Midrand, South Africa. Leader of the delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I rise to move that this House...
I hope the second Deputy Speaker is ready to take over the chair. Yes, you can go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move that this House adopt the report of the representatives of the Parliament of Ghana to the 4th ordinary session, the 5th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament, held from June 27th to July 2nd, 2022 in Midrand, South Africa. Mr. Speaker, I will make reference to the headlines and I urge the Hansard Department to incorporate the whole report as same have been read in extenso. The Speaker, in accordance with Article 142 of the Protocol of Treaty establishing the African Economic Community relating to the Pan-African Parliament, the 4th ordinary session was held on the 4th ordinary session of the 5th Parliament was held from 27 June to 2nd July in Midrand, South Africa. The Speaker, your delegation from Ghana's Parliament is led by my good self, Commission, who oversaw and superintended during the period when a new president was elected. The Speaker, I'll come to the conclusion. In conclusion, the delegation expresses appreciation to the heads of state and government of AU, the Executive Council of AUC, and all who played a role to bring finality to the issue of geographical rotation in the election of members of Pan-African Parliament, the Bureau. It is the expectation of the delegation that Pan-African Parliament will work diligently towards the achievement of the objectives of PAP to sustain its existence. I so move. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yes, Honourable Minority Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I rise to second the motion, and in doing so, to thank the Chair for the presentation to the House. Mr. Speaker, I must admit, it did not take the Pan-African Parliament easy to come to this conclusion that the Chair just reported, because we've had a terrible challenge in the Pan-African Parliament where we have precedents that are not part of our rules, and because they were not part of our rules, it came to a point where what we usually call rotation in Pan-African Parliament, among the 5 reasons, zones demarcated in Pan-African Parliament for Africa, was not being followed, and it created a huge challenge for us. In Pan-African Parliament, the African continent has been zoned into 5. You have the Northern Caucasus, you have the West African Caucasus, you have the East African Caucasus, the Central African Caucasus, and the Southern Caucasus. And when this parliament was being established way back in 2006, it started with the Central Africa East Africa rep as the president, Madame Mongela, as the president of Pan-African Parliament. Then after she left, even though when she was even going to leave, it came with some rancors. When she left, then it went to Central Africa, it used to be from Chad. Then after he departed, it came to West African Caucasus. Honorable Betel Amadi became the president of Pan-African Parliament. Then when he was leaving, his vice president, one of his vice presidents, by name Honorable Nkodo, insisted to take over, but he was from the Central Africa, and that became a big problem. And in so many discussions, it was agreed, even with a resolution, that after that, we'll try and follow the rotation. Unfortunately, when he got his first term and enjoyed sitting as the president of the Pan-African Parliament, he didn't want to go. So he orchestrated a second term for himself. There was a lot of confusion and fight, but he still survived and then continued a second term. After even his second term, the guy was still orchestrating not to allow the rotation that everybody had agreed on to continue. And that led to a very big fight. And unfortunately, the Pan-African Parliament activity had to be suspended for almost 2 years. Then, during the COVID, we managed to try to convert. Still, there were we couldn't make progress until this very meeting, when almost all the regional zones had to be invited to Addis Ababa, talk to, some arrangement done, some understanding reached. Even with that, you have people whose countries are under coup d'etat still wanting to come and contest. And it created a lot of problems for us. But thank God, on this very day, the June 27th, 2022, we were able to weather the storm and have been able to constitute a new bureau that started working very effectively. Mr. Speaker, I believe that Africa, we have a big challenge. We have very nice slogans. You go to Pan-African Parliament, it is boldly written there, I am because you are. But our activities and behavior doesn't portray I am because you are. It's as if everybody is for himself and everybody is struggling for himself. I hope that with these new executives, we will continue to give the very best to the African continent and to be able to salvage the African people from all the challenges that confront them, which is across Africa, poverty and all the challenges. I can see, Mr. Speaker, I want to make a plea before I take my seat. Don't allow Eric Opoku to contribute to this because he has told me clearly what he intends to say. And I don't want it to be captured, so don't call him, because he wants to say that most of the confusion that we've been there, I was orchestrating. I don't have hand in them. I don't have hand in them. So, Mr. Speaker, with this comment, I second the motion, and I hope members will contribute. Mr. Speaker, that was on a lighter note. Members will contribute positively to keep encouraging the African Parliament to give out its very best. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I'm grateful. I rise to speak in support of the motion. Speaker, let me start on a note of commending the African Union. If you listen to the story as being told and the narrative, you cannot help it but come to the conclusion that the African Union played a very vital role in resolving the impasse that plagued the PAP for all these while. Again, Speaker, the delegation from Ghana's Parliament needs to be led by our respected First Deputy Speaker, needs to be commended for staying on course, believing in certain democratic principles, and also pushing it and ensuring that these principles are respected and enforced. Various caucus leaders also played a very important role in the consultation that led to the resolution. As well, let me say that we're fortunate that our own minority chief whip was eventually elected as the chair. He now chairs, and I don't know why he didn't speak to that, whether he's trying to hide it from members. He was elected as the chair of the finance committee, so his position has changed, and it comes with other essentials, and my colleague knows.
So don't tax people.
No more chief discuss.
So to be fair, I led the ad hoc committee that helped in conducting the elections. So we played a very good role and represented our country well. Not to belabor the point, just to conclude on the note that largely the PAP has remained consultative body. Going forward, the vision as was espoused by the founders, basically as a parliamentary body, is to ensure that the legislative function of that body cannot be toyed with or undermined. So moving forward, we should move beyond the consultative state and be able to define our legislative powers. For me, that is critical, and it's something that has been outstanding for a very long time. Having said this, I want to commend the African Union and commend the delegation for a very good role play in ensuring that, again, PAP is on the route to regain its lost glory. Okay. Having said this, I support the motion fully and urge members to help in the adoption of this report. Speaker, I'm grateful.
Very well. Honorable Eric Kupoku, I'm interested in you. So let me hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the leadership of my side has asked me not to make a comment on this statement. And therefore, it would not be appropriate for me to grossly disrespect the leadership of my side. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't want to make a comment. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, Hansard has just heard something. And for emphasis, I just want to find out whether Mr. Erikopoku intended what he said to be captured by Hansard and posterity. That we have the report of PAC. Our representatives who have gone to the Pan-African Parliament, they have come with a report that as a parliamentarian you are free to express your views on. Mr. Speaker, you are saying your leadership, they have gagged you. Mr. Speaker, look at what happened yesterday. Mr. Speaker, our side had an opportunity to express their views on matters of national concern. We didn't gag them. We encouraged them to get on board so that we work together for the betterment of democracy. And the NDC leadership, led by Honorable Harun Idrisu, today a senior member of the NDC is saying that on a harmless report like this, he's being gagged. Really? And therefore you are in all humility saying that you won't comment even when Mr. Speaker has called you. Really? So between NDC and MPP, where is democracy being practiced? Mr. Speaker, our side, there was turbulence yesterday. We took it easy. Yes, but it will be over. It will be over. But you are afraid. Why are you not allowing him to speak? The man is afraid to speak. Else during his primaries, you may kick him out. He's afraid. Or you as a chief whip, you may even deny him his status in a committee. Why is he afraid? Erikopoku, as we know, a consummate politician, is now afraid to speak. Okay. Hansard has said you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Erikopoku, you said you have no comment, so I wouldn't give you the opportunity. Let me come to
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to correct an erroneous impression made by our colleague that I'm afraid to speak. Mr. Speaker, I'm not afraid. Democracy means respect for law. I'm a member of a caucus, and the caucus has taken a position that these are the people who are supposed to speak on this matter. And that is why I'm declining not to make a comment on this one. But when the opportunity comes, for other people or me to speak on another thing, Mr. Speaker, I will do that. I'm not afraid. I've been speaking on the floor always.
Let me come to minority leader. Mr. Speaker, you wanted to...
I thought he had finished.
So I want Honorable Helena to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to the adoption of the report. We have a proud delegation led by the First Deputy Speaker, accompanied by the whips to the Pan-African Parliament. But, Mr. Speaker, there are significant issues from this committee's report that our Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs must take particular notes so that the African heads of state, when they meet again, they will discuss the matter of the Pan-African Parliament, retake a position on the Pan-African Parliament and what purpose we want it to serve. It does not appear that we are learning lessons very fast, particularly from the EU Parliament, and what the EU Parliament can do and cannot do. If you compare it to our Pan-African Parliament, we still will appear like a toddler nurturing a democratic institution of a Pan-African Parliament. Mr. Speaker, so the EU Parliament must guide African heads of state as to what they should do. My only other observations, Mr. Speaker, is to refer you to paragraph 3 of the committee's report, and I'm not particularly the second line, those words there. It is well known that parliaments throughout the world are important places for debates. Then the words there, and confrontation of ideas. I have a difficulty with the committee clerk when you say confrontation of ideas, but I don't know, leader of delegation, what he means by that. And I could go on even to the text. There is one other correction that I'll draw, Mr. Speaker, your report to. Then paragraph 4.5, contextually, and this to guide our clerks when they are working, we expect more diligence from them. When you start a sentence with, he indicated that at this turning point in the history of the continent, it seemed to him more relevant to stick to the essentials. You see, context-wise, I'm struggling to see what they are conveying. That's my observation. I don't see the relationship with other paragraphs. I'm sure they want to convey a certain major decision, but I don't seem to get it. But Mr. Speaker, to refer you to paragraph page 4, he said it was indeed regrettable that the protocol establishing the rotation had not yet come into force due to lack of sufficient number of ratifications. So, Mr. Speaker, as I said, who is to do the ratification? Who is to facilitate the ratification in other countries? We know here we will have to get the other African heads of state to make a commitment to ratify so that the Pan-African Parliament can take its pride of place. Then finally, Mr. Speaker, as I said, I just noticed another innocuous correction in the committee. Yes, page 8, the second line, I'm sure it's just a typo, but for purpose of record, appeal to members to rebrand. The rebrand there is not properly done. It should be done properly. But Mr. Speaker, generally to commend our delegation, First Deputy and his team, but I think that we must redefine what the Pan-African Parliament must do, and African heads of state must take interest in it and model it along the lines of the EU Parliament. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Honorable Speaker, can you conclude and probably,
I want to thank,
if you can,
honorable members who
address some of the issues raised by the minority leader?
Well, the real issue he has raised is about what the heads of state wish the Parliament of Pan-Africa to be. Indeed, it's a matter which has engaged the attention of members of the Pan-African
Parliament itself, and there are moves to ensure that we move it from the Parliament from being just an advisory organ, to a legislative organ. But indeed, I recall in 2013, 2014, the Speaker was the chair of the Constitutional and Legal Committee and was the ranking member. We were heavily guided by the model right to information bill prepared by the Pan-African Parliament when we were working on the right to information bill. So the Pan-African Parliament does some of these things to guide parliaments in all Africa so that we could use what they do as a guide in domesticating what the state parliaments or national parliaments may do. The Speaker, having said that, I thank members who have contributed. I notice that Honorable Minority Chief Whip has left, so I won't tell anybody what he did in the elections. If he were here, I would have said it, but now that he's not here, how he managed to make sure the election was not held so that we can go and come back, and he did very well in that respect. But I'll not give the details to anybody on the floor. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I thank members for contributing to the debate of the report. Thank you. Thank you very much. Honourable members, the question is, all those in favor of the report, say aye. All those against the motion, say no. It's obvious the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. Yes, leadership.
Speaker, we are ready for item 7. Item 7 on page 2.
Honourable members, may I invite you to page 2, item listed 7, motion by the chairman of the delegation to West ECOWAS. Yes.
If Mr. Speaker will be pleased, I rise to move the House to adopt the report of Ghana's representatives to the ECOWAS Parliament on the first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament held in Abuja, Nigeria from 9 June to 2nd July 2022. Mr. Speaker, I move